Welcome to the Swirl Suite, everybody, and happy Wine Wednesday. Well, we're kicking off the month of March, which is Women's History Month, with special guest Margo Gabriel. She's a freelance writer. She writes for Cuisine Noir and other publications. And guess what? She's even written about the Swirl Suite. Check out her article in Cuisine Noir. But anyway, we invited Margo to the show because she just moved to Portugal during a pandemic. Ain't that crazy? Well, here is her whole story. Cheers. Before we introduce our special guest, please vote for us for the Taste Awards. We are nominated for 2 categories. The link and the information will be in the description box. Yes.
Vote Swirl Suite.
Vote for Swirl Suite.
Yes.
Yay.
Can people vote multiple times?
One time per device.
Per device.
Oh, per device. Thank you.
And if you have multiple email addresses, so vote from your personal and your work.
Oh.
Well.
Okay. So this is like Chicago, early and often.
Duly noted.
Duly noted. And also, real talk, Sarita, and edit this part out when you go back
what's
to
this
do
time
that on
stamp?
show.
I got you.
While you have us on now, or maybe another time, we should just do like voice recording or commercial to say vote for us.
Oh yeah, sure.
That we can post on our social. So like it just be a thing that you put at the beginning of the podcast, or that you put on social media with just our voices and us saying, yeah, vote for us. Vote for Swirl Suite. And then that picture of the 4 of us outside the DO.
Got it.
Know
I do.
That.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I just thought of that when you just said this. I'm like, oh wait, maybe we could do this. So okay. Yeah. And back to the show.
All right. Hey Margo. Hey girl.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Really no complaints. I mean, aside from, being in quarantine.
Yeah, that's all of us. But you don't live in the US. We're going to talk about that later. Please.
I know.
Yes, please, because I need to hear the whole story of how this happened. Introduce yourself to everybody.
Of course. Hi, my name is Margo Gabriel. I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts. Was born in Miami, Florida. My parents are from Haiti. And I'm a freelance writer. I'm a food writer, and I love to eat. And so I've been able to interview some really fantastic entrepreneurs and chefs and really fantastic wine people in the wine world over the last 3 years with Cuisine Noir in Boston. And now I'm living abroad in Lisbon, Portugal. As of October 2020, I made the move. And I've been there for a couple of months now. Been here for a couple of months, and I really love it. I mean, aside from obviously, the pandemic, it's been just a really fantastic opportunity to like meet and collaborate with some really remarkable expats here.
Wow.
Now, is Portugal kind of open? Are restaurants and bars and stuff open there? They just closed?
They were open, but cases started spiking after the new year. And so the government decided to pretty much close all indoor dining. So everything for the most part is closed with the exception of like pharmacy and grocery stores. So you could still do like Uber Eats and takeaway, but you can't like go into shopping malls or.
Wow.
So everything is pretty much shut down at this point, with the exception of the grocery stores and pharmacies. So that's really impacted. The liquor store is open, so I'm always at the Mercado.
Listen, first things first.
Priorities.
Yes. What is the weather like there right now?
So this is our winter season, but it's very mild. So like today, it was in the high 50s and sunny.
Okay.
November was probably the coldest month here. It was like rainy, kind of overcast, but it usually, by early afternoon, it's like sunny, right?
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's nice.
That's comfortable to sit outside if you decided to dine outside.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a terrace, like I don't have a terrace, but That's like big.
Right. Like for some people, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long have you been a writer?
Wow. Okay. So professionally, the last 3 years, but I've been writing since I was like 13. And I knew I was going to be a writer, but growing up, Haitian American, my mom was like, you're either going to become a doctor, a nurse, or a lawyer. And I didn't become any of those things. So when I finally told her I was like, you know, going off to college and I was going to be studying English, she was like, but you already speak the language. I don't understand. And I was like, trust me on this, Mom.
You can do a lot with an English degree, though. A whole lot.
Yeah, you can. But she, you know, for her, she was just like,
yeah,
what are you going to do with that? And I was like, I can teach. And she's like, okay. So it took some convincing. I think sometimes still they're just like, what do you do again?
That is funny.
I was just like, okay. Like my siblings, like they get it, but oftentimes I think like the older ones in my family, they're just like, oh yeah, you know, Margo, she just be writing stories.
He's like, what's she doing, girl? She just be writing.
I'm like, meanwhile, I'm like, I'm getting featured.
They make it sound like a diary entry.
I know, terrible. Right? It's just, I'm like, okay, all right, thanks, guys.
It's like, oh, you know, she's a philosophy major. She just thinks.
Yeah, she just be thinking.
just thinks.
So that's always funny. I'm just like, okay,
right? You'd be like,
keep me humble.
Well, how did you specifically get into the food section? Because that's very niche.
And competitive.
Right.
Very much so. The last, I would say, most of my adult professional life, I was just working in finance. So I worked at a couple of financial firms, and I worked in academia, and up until March 2020. And I was like, okay, you know, with COVID, and then I had gotten laid off. And so that really pushed me into freelancing full time unexpectedly, which, I mean, it was a blessing because definitely last year was a lot for many people, but it just taught me to really like lean into my skill set, but also to tap into my network. So I ended up getting in touch with Cherie at Cuisine Noir just through a cold email. I'd been following their work since I was in undergrad, and I was like, oh my goodness, I would love to, you know, write for them one day. And I sent her a pitch, I think it was like in 2018. And I was like, hey, I just started a blog. My name is Margo. I don't have any clips, because she had asked, she was like, can I see your clips? I'm like, actually, I don't have any. I'm like, I have a blog, and it had one entry. So she was like, let's hop on a call. And I was like, sure. So shout out to Cherie. She's amazing. And she was like, okay, well, we can, you know, give you an assignment. And my first gig was to interview TJ and Hadley Douglas at the Urban Grade. And they were just fantastic. I hired my friend who was a photographer then. And that was my first byline in Cuisine Noir. And I was just like overjoyed. And really like the rest kind of is history. Like things really started picking up, and I felt more confident in my ability to pitch. And then I just started telling people like, hey, you know, I do freelance writing on the side. If you know anyone that's looking for more writers, let me know. And so then I just started pitching to brands that I've always wanted to write for, because I felt like, okay, I could do this. Like the worst that they could say is no. And you know, going to workshops and just like learning from other writers, reading other writers' work to really hone my craft. And that's really how I got started. Just sending that cold email.
That's a lesson for everyone who's listening.
Yeah,
just do
absolutely.
it.
Just do it. And
just do it.
You know, if it doesn't work out or if that door doesn't open, there's, you know, plenty of other opportunities. And but I always tell people that if that's what they want to, you know, break into, whether it's writing or filmmaking, whatever, you just have to start somewhere.
Are you happy that you kind of fell into a Black space of writing?
That was intentional.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was intentional. So like,
okay,
I had pitched other, larger platforms that, have a bigger budget, and I never heard back. Obviously, I didn't have clips at the time, and so for me, like, it's still very much an honor to have bylines with Cuisine Noir.
Yeah.
Like, definitely, like, my whole thing is to promote Black entrepreneurs and the work that we do, because I think representation is super important, and like that's really why I'm a writer. My teachers, in high school were Black, and they poured into me, and I feel like that's how I'm paying it forward, is to share and to interview remarkable entrepreneurs in that space.
That is awesome. So what has been like the most interesting article that to you that you've written so far?
You don't have to say us. I know we were really interesting.
Listen, I was about to say it for her. Like, okay, so if she can't come up with it, like, let me just say it. Like,
it's okay. Aside from us.
Right. Like, okay, let's okay. So we're one. So what is like 2 and 3? If that helps.
Okay, so my second one would be interviewing this catering company that's based in Haiti. It's called Tommy's Kitchen, and that was also with Cuisine Noir. And being, of Haitian parentage, like, it's always an honor for me to present Haiti in a positive light. And so that to me was like such an honor. So whenever I can shine a light on, underserved communities, or just really fantastic entrepreneurs who are doing amazing stuff, like, that's always my goal. So that was my top 2. My third favorite, I think, would be the work that I've been able to do here in Lisbon, and just like showcasing the diaspora here. My first story was with the wine bar before everything shut down. And it was the first wine bar that I visited when I came to Lisbon in 2018. And I just loved it. Like, the vibe was perfect. The music was great. The food was amazing. And then when I knew I was moving here, I was like, okay, let me see if they're still open. And they were open, and then the owner was there, and like, I was like, oh, I came here, 2 years ago, and I really loved it. And then I said, I would love to interview you. And he was like, he said yes right on the spot. So then I was like, let me just check with my editor first. So then I pitched Sheree. I was like, hey, Sheree, I have this really great story. His story is really remarkable. He pretty much started the nightlife here in Lisbon. He's originally from Guinea-Bissau, came here as a teen, and he was a DJ and just had all these really cool gigs. And he's just been a staple in the Lisbon nightlife. So been around for over 30 years, and I'm just grateful that he was open to sharing his story. So that, I would say, is like my top 3rd favorite story.
I can see that. I loved Lisbon. That was my first international trip.
It's
like,
okay.
Got my passport to go to Lisbon.
Really?
No way.
That was the first.
That's so cool.
Oh,
that's so cool. Yeah, Lisbon never really was on my radar. I mean, I could talk a little bit about it, but I was on my way to Mozambique, and then I was flying on TAP out of Boston, and they were like, oh, do you want to spend 4 days in Lisbon? And I was like, okay. And it was at no additional cost, and I was like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. And I loved it. The food was great, just everybody was super cool, and it's like, I want to come back here, so that sort of was like, I bookmarked that in my mind over the last couple of years, and I was thinking about it, and then this summer I was like, I think I need to leave the state. I mean, I feel like everybody sort of has that feeling, but
but you actually did it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wake up, I'm like, I really don't live in America anymore. This is crazy.
Yeah.
But so glad I did.
Yeah. So we're here. So walk us through that decision that you made to make the big move.
So it was in June when I decided okay, I'm gonna try to find some visa, something to move forward. And I would say probably the tipping point for me was George Floyd's murder. That I was like, after that, I felt more trapped. Like, being in quarantine and having to work from home. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to either go to grad school or I'm going to find some program that's going to allow me to leave the States for at least 2 years. So I started looking for English programs in Lisbon specifically. Like, I wasn't looking anywhere else, but I knew I wanted to come here. And so I found a program in like mid-June. Then I sent my application in. They were like, oh, we want to interview you. And so it was like end of July. And I think it was like July 30th or something. So I got invited to come to your program, to your master's program. And then I had to like break it to my family because I was like, okay, I got my visa. It took a month to get my visa, which I did not expect it to sort of, have such quick turnaround because of the pandemic and the consulates were closed and everything. And so when I eventually got my visa, told my family, they were like, what? Why are you doing this now? And I was like, my goal was to visit Lisbon in the month of December last year, just for a couple weeks. I was going to use my vacation time to kind of test the waters to see if I could work remotely and live abroad. But then with COVID and like the restrictions, and so I had to have a legitimate visa to travel outside of the United States. So when I got it, that's when I really started like getting rid of some of my things and just like preparing my family for my move and getting a COVID test. Like, that was probably the most challenging aspect of this whole thing, because the wait list was just so long. So I got my visa September 8th, and then I left October 2nd, and it was just so fast. Like,
wow.
Sometimes I'm like, so I like wanted it to happen so badly and did not stop until it happened. So glad that I did it.
And did you have a plan already? Like, after, like, you planned all that, and I'm listening to your story and then think about mine, thinking like, man, this is like how normal people and responsible people do things. How Margo just said she did it. Like, this is how people do things.
I don't know. I mean, I think for me, I just had this like sense of urgency, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I was like, it's either, Portugal or test of the waters in Africa, like in an African country, for a few months at a time. But I think it was, having the consulate approve my visa in such a short time. I was not anticipating that. So I was like, all right, like, I already had a plan B. I was like, I can go to Senegal or I can go to Mozambique, so I knew I was leaving. I just didn't know where and who was going to open their borders to me.
You were like, I'm getting out of here.
Literally. And I was super quiet about it. Like, even when I got here and I had like interviewed with the Huffington Post, I wasn't posting a lot of my stuff online because I was just like, I don't want anyone to know I'm here. Like, Cherie knew I was here and a few other people, but I was just like, no one needs to know that I'm here.
Why didn't you want anybody to know you were there?
I think for me, I'm just super low key. Like, I'm just like, all right, let me do my work and keep it moving. But
meanwhile, other people got to post the airplane wing. They got to.
I just gotta be. And I'm like,
they got to be on the moving walkway doing like reels, like, or a boomerang.
I'm like,
well, just so you know, well, you're writing about it now, but just so you know, when I Googled you, Lisbon comes up after your name.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So it's out there now, girl.
It is. So, I mean, oh my goodness, that's funny. That's a lot. My friends always make fun of me. Well, the expats that I've met here, there's one from DC, and she's like, you can't just be blocking people who want to like reach out to you, Margo. Like, this, like, people know who you are now. And I'm like,
yeah.
So it's the running joke. Like, if somebody DMs me, they're gonna be like, did you block somebody today? I'm like, no, I answer, I reply to messages and comments. But I think being an introvert, I'm just like, okay, I write, but then it's like,
understood. Understood.
It can get overwhelming.
It can.
Especially once people really start knowing you're there, and then you get into the expat thing, people will be asking you, oh, can we interview this? Can you write this? Can you talk to us about this? And you'll be like, oh, yeah, great. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, I'll do it. And then
there's
after
a lot of that.
time, you'll be like, oh, geez, I'm gonna have to start saying no, or maybe, or I'm gonna have to start being less interesting, which is difficult.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge for us all. All of us are fascinating. I mean, let's be honest here. We are legitimately fascinating. But no, when you went, you already had, some writing gigs already planned, and you were already like, you know what, I just need Wi-Fi and I can work fine. Or when you got there, be like, okay, so now I gotta work on something and make money.
Very simple. I have a very simple question. Did you find someplace to live before or after you got there? Like, how'd that work out? Because if you don't know anybody there, you can't like crash on a couch or anything. So how'd that work?
Oh, I had to book. So my goal was to get here in like the end of September to apartment hunt. I had booked an Airbnb, but then at the consulate in Boston, they were like, no, the government wants to see that you have a lease. And I'm like, I don't want to like sign a check, sign a lease, and I've not seen the apartment. But they were not budging, and I was like, okay, if that's what you want. So the space that I have now, like I had only seen like 6 pictures. And I was like, I'm like, I hope the dimensions.
And they pictures be anything.
Yeah.
They pictures anything.
Here, it's wild. It is so crazy. Like, so they had pictures of the common area. They had pictures of the bedroom. And the only picture that they had of the bathroom was the faucet. Like, just the faucet. So I thought
the pictures be so terrible.
Oh my God.
So I still have to talk to my landlord about that. I'm like, this is terrible. And so when I walked in here, I was like, did I move into a rooming house? Like, I had no idea. But it's a legitimate apartment. Like, there's a shower and it's legitimate. But I was cracking up. I'm like, this is like, I was ready to stay in, an Airbnb if it wasn't what I had anticipated. But
you'd be amazed, Sarita and Leslie, with the kind of the pictures people put out for apartments, because they don't have to try, because it's like people, they snatch them up so quick if you're in the city. So it'll be a picture. When I was looking for an apartment, it would be like a picture of the corner of the wall. Like, so where the front door and the hallway meet, it'll be a picture of that. And then it'll be a picture of like the closet door and then like a corner of the shower. And those would be like the photos you have. I'm like,
there's no sense.
It's so dumb. It's like you didn't even try.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm glad I have this space. I was like, I'll leave for 2 years. I don't mind, but most people don't have, I guess, the same like or whatever. But you do have to see it in person. I would recommend if you can, or know someone who you
can go see it. Yeah.
For you. Wow.
So it was a gamble.
That's that's the only thing that made me nervous out of your whole story. Everything was fine. I was like, oh my God, wait, how did she find a place to live? Tanisha, what did you do? Yeah, Tanisha, what did you do when you moved to France?
When I first came, I had an Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
And then I found a room to rent within that first week. I met someone when I was here then who was super cool. And she was like, you know what? If you really do come back, she's like, you sound serious. Just stay with me till you find an apartment. So when I came back that October, I stayed with her, just sleeping on her couch with my little suitcase in the living room. And I stayed with her to that January and found an apartment that next January. That's how long it took me to get a place.
Man, whoa. Y'all some brave souls. Y'all some brave souls. Like,
exactly.
That's what makes y'all special.
Right.
So the apartment thing, it's stories about that.
Yeah. I've heard horror stories just from like the friends I've made here. I'm just like, wow, okay. I'm very fortunate.
See, I didn't even think of that. I was thinking more of the language barrier, but the whole apartment piece, yeah. So did you know some Portuguese before you?
That was a question I had. Yeah.
I have zero. I speak some Spanish, so I try to get away with that, or I'll ask them like, "Do you speak French?" Or And if they don't, then it's just like, okay, let me pull out the Google Translate.
They'll be like, well, I'll just talk to somebody else. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you.
I know. I'm just like, they must be so sick of me when I go to the grocery store. I'm like, do you have celery? And they're like, what? Especially for Thanksgiving. Oh my goodness. I was trying to make stuffing. We didn't have any stuffing for Thanksgiving because I couldn't find the celery. So it was just, they were like, what? I'm like, and I had the word in Portuguese. I don't think I said it right. And they were like, you want leeks? I'm like, no.
Did you show them a picture? Would that have helped?
They had no idea what I was talking about. So I was like,
they might not even eat it, but at least in Portugal,
probably
greens. So you can get collard greens there. Yeah, you can get collard greens there because I'll find collard greens here at Portuguese stores or at
wow.
Okay. No, they do have collard greens.
Wow.
Wow. French people don't eat it. Collard greens and kale, like if I'm getting it from like a French place, oh my God, it's about to cost a mint. No thanks.
Wow.
Did you find a turkey for Thanksgiving?
What do we have? We had roasted chicken.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Same thing, child.
Yeah, no, we just had roasted chicken.
What's Portuguese food like? I mean, I know the wine.
It's awesome, big into seafood. The wine is fantastic. The food is just really, like, I love to eat, so I've not had a bad meal here. Big into bacalhau, so cod fish is like everywhere. It's available everywhere. Shrimp, duck, like they have some really fantastic dishes.
Speaking my language. Yeah.
It's my favorite dish so far. It's called duck rice with like fried chorizo sausage on top.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
And it's like this really well seasoned duck and some rice and you have chorizo on top. It is so good. It is so good. So good.
Damn, it sounds good.
Right. And the seafood, I mean, everything is fresh. So I'm always eating and cooking and all that good stuff.
Yeah. How's your life changed since you moved?
I would say it's definitely made me more outgoing, and just because like I live by myself and I wanted to find a community of friends here. So Cherie really, again, came through and she was like, oh, you should reach out to this expat. She's from DC and she's been here for 2 years. So I DM'd her and she responded and she was like, hey, let's meet for drinks. And so we met up maybe the end of October and we've hung out like almost every weekend. So she's like my little expat family here, which I appreciate. Her name is Cinnamon. And she's just been like super helpful in getting me acclimated and like getting, my tax ID number that I need to get and just health insurance, like all those little things that you have to, get as a new person in a new country. So I would say like it's made me more outgoing.
It sounds so exciting. It's like you're starting over.
Yeah.
As an adult though. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. Like I appreciate it because I'm normally introverted, but like now I just feel like, okay, I could, before when things were open, I could say like, oh, let me go to this cafe or bar and just like meet people. Whereas before I was way more introverted back home. And
so you moved from Boston?
Yeah, from Boston.
Okay.
So it was just way more introverted and already had my circle of friends. And I was like, I'm all set. But here I'm just like, oh, cool. Where are you from? Or, just people seem to be very open here, which I really love.
Now, after the 2 years, are you going to come back or what are you thinking?
Good question.
I know.
Don't do it.
I feel you. So here's my plan. My goal is to get my master's and then hopefully find an employment like here that would sponsor me to be here for, I guess, an additional 3 years. Because the way the Portuguese government does it is you have to live here, I think, 5 years consecutively to qualify for permanent residency. So it's for me, I feel like, Portugal is like the easiest country to gain, I guess, to be on the path of getting EU citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the goal. That's the goal. So ideally, get my master's, find work that would allow me to be here for a couple more years after the 2 years, or apply for a PhD, and I'll be here for another 4 years within. So that's the goal. That's the goal.
What are you getting your master's in? I'm sorry, I didn't.
Oh, I didn't mention that earlier. My master's is in arts and culture management. So I'd love to be able to run like an arts nonprofit that allows young high school students to travel all over the world and network. So that's one of the reasons why I came here.
How did you choose your school? Because do they all speak English, or how's that work?
There's not a lot, but there are a few in Lisbon.
Okay.
And I just picked the one that came up.
Okay.
And they had deadlines that I had not missed. And so that's literally how I ended up finding this program.
Okay.
So my next goal is to actually take an official Portuguese class, because I need to learn the language.
Are any of your expat friends fluent?
A few.
Okay. Because Tanisha, you said you have to converse with it or be around people who don't force you to speak the other language, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, so I do have
easy to slip back into that English because we're kind of
no, it's true. I have let's see, I have two American expat friends here, but the rest are like from Portugal, so I do have access to not have to speak English all the time.
Portuguese people are nicer though, so it is easier to make friends with Portuguese people. Making friends with French people,
very much so.
That's not going to happen.
I hear it is hard over there. Now, do you speak French, Tanisha?
I can speak some French words and put together some sentences.
Nice.
I don't know if she's exaggerating or not, or don't want to like give herself the credit, but her little French accent pops up. Like, did you see her video? It was very French. I was like, look at this girl. Look at this.
So it's just to say to speak French. Like people are like, oh, fluent. And the thing is, I can speak and get my point across to someone, and then they'll respond back to me, and then I'll be like, I don't know what you said. What? Like I won't understand what they said. So that's why, like, that's my hold up now with why I actually don't push myself to speak it more. So I'm like, all right, I got my sentence out just fine. And then they responded or tried to hold up their end of the conversation. But I'm like, so wait, what? I don't know what you said. They'll say it again, and I'm like, no, you know what? Forget it. You can only ask what like 3 times. Like after that, you just have to smile and nod, and like you got to move on.
Right.
You keep repeating.
Oh man.
But you have said, Tanisha, that you have done wine tastings. Like you've gone to wine tastings and you've understood what they said, and it was in French.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah. I think you're probably further along than you give yourself credit.
Probably. And that's not like trying to be a humble brag or downplay it. It's just, it's hard to be an adult and someone who, like, I consider myself to be, pretty eloquent and a good storyteller. But then in another language, to not be perfectly comfortable in any situation, anyone says anything, that is very hard for me. Some people don't sound like a 5-year-old child. I'm not her. She is not me.
And then I bet dialect has an influence too, because like if you learn a language, and I'll give you a really good example. One of my uncles has a really thick Southern accent to the point where my ex-husband could not understand what he was saying. Like I would have to translate for them because he talks really fast and he has a thick accent. So he would stand next to me and be like, what did he say? Type of thing. So I can only imagine in a foreign language and somebody has, a very thick accent regional accent from where they are, it probably is a challenge too.
Yeah. And I couldn't tell it was regional accents until later. Like that's something that I just felt like, okay, I just can't understand you when you talk. Or like, all right, man, maybe I'm not as good or learning as much French as I thought because I don't understand when this person talks to me.
Right.
Then when talking to someone else, I'm like, no, but I understand everything she's saying and I get it. People are like, oh no, she's from the north. That's why you don't understand her. Or like, oh, he's from the south. And I'm like, it's funny because, you know, everybody in the south anywhere like has an accent and you don't understand it. Like the southern accent in any country is just different. But here, they're like people from the south, they're like, oh no, you're not gonna understand that. And in the north, they have taken the language and it's even a different kind of French. Whoa. So not just their pronunciations, like they have like extra words or different ways that they pronounce things. Not even just the accent. They're like, no, we're gonna pronounce this word different. Like we say tomato, the north would be like tomato. Like, okay, so yeah. And as a foreigner, I'm like, wait, is this the same word? Are we talking about a different word? Yeah. Is this like read and red? Like, what are we doing here? How? Yeah. What's happening? So yeah, there's that.
No, I get it.
Yeah, it's like that in Portugal. Because before I came over, I was listening to a lot of like podcasts in Portuguese and didn't realize there was a huge difference between Brazilian Portuguese and like European Portuguese. So I was like, okay, I spent the whole summer learning Brazilian Portuguese. This is not helpful.
That's not going to help you, not at all, girl.
So I was like, this is insane. Like, it's like I notice the difference when I hear them speak Portuguese, or they drop their endings, and it's very like nasally, and there's a lot of sh sounds. So definitely I have to like train my ear to understand.
Yeah, in the beginning, even just trying to understand the separate words was hard. I'm like, it sounds like one song lyric.
Yes.
One note. So I was hyped, like before I could even translate it to mean something that I could comprehend. I was just hyped that I knew the separations in the words and that it wasn't just a long note. I'm like, oh wait, I understand that he just said 6 words. Like I was hype when that happened. And later on, when I can actually translate them, because like when you hear anything foreign sounds fast, and so it always sounded fast, and then it sounded like it all ran together. So once you can even hear just the word separations, you're like, okay, we're making progress. All right, we taking steps. Yes. And then after that, you'll start being able to translate words. And then. Girl, may the force be with you.
Thank you.
It is not an easy task, but I know you're up for it.
Oh man.
So last serious question. This is actually for Margo and Tanisha. Is there any advice for an American that wants to move to another country?
That's a really good question. I would say this is the advice I give to everybody, to do your research, like really, because it's not like you're not going on vacation, like you're uprooting your life to move to a new country. So just, do your research and just know like what your limitations are. Like what is it that you want? Do you want to still maintain the same lifestyle that you currently have in your new country,
then don't come.
Your host country? Like, or, getting used to the systems. Like there's a lot of bureaucracy here. And that takes some getting used to, especially.
We could do a whole episode on bureaucracy. Girl, that could be a whole conversation.
For an example, you have to, once you're here in Portugal, you have to get registered to get, it's kind of like your social security number, but here we call it NIF, NIF. And it's a little tax ID number that they give you. Ideally, you're supposed to get it, I want to say, within 2 months of you being here. Just got mine. Been here 5 months. I just got mine. Wow. So, I've learned patience, quite a bit of patience, and just dealing with the systems. And so sometimes I'm like, I think this is crazy. But again, I'm in a new country, so just kind of have to adjust. but definitely do the research. That's what I would recommend.
That's excellent advice. So to go along with that, I would say, I think number one for me, I have to, would be not to idealize or idolize the place you're going. And I say that especially here because it is Paris and people look at it as this, oh my gosh, it's Paris and it's this and it's that. And so they have this whole dreamy idea in their head of what it is. And it even might be like that when you come here as a tourist. But when you get here and live here, you're not living in the Eiffel Tower. So you have to be realistic about what this place actually is to live here. And then the second is kind of like what Margo said of being flexible. The way your life is in America, your life absolutely will not be like that when you are here. So you have to, so I guess mine would be more manage your expectations. Your life is not going to be the same. If you want it to be the same, then don't come. Like, I'm not even going to try to talk you around that. Just don't come. Don't come here with your same American attitude, your same American ideals, your same American, your full American way of thinking. Like, yes, you can still be American and get things done, because me being an American has helped me build a business here because of, I mean, the ingenuity, the work ethic, the think outside the box, all of that has helped me. But I can't be fully American and be like, well, you have to do things the way they do in America. That's not how they do them here. They're not going to do them as fast. Unfortunately, it's not going to be as thorough. But that's just a thing. So you have to be flexible. Flexibility goes along with that whole patience thing, and trying to get through bureaucracy, trying to get help for anything. Manage your expectations. Things aren't going to flow as smoothly as you think they should. You think it should take a week. It's going to take you a month. Manage it. Figure it out. Give yourself time. Be flexible. And those are my two pieces.
A glass of wine.
Right. And luckily the wine is good over here, because otherwise I would have jumped off the roof. Like, I would have jumped off the roof a couple of times. And over simple stuff, like I would have jumped off a roof trying to get a bank account. Like, that was one of the hardest things I had to get a bank account.
Same.
And why is that hard? Like, I'm literally trying to give you my money. Why are you making that hard? I'm trying to put a stack in your hands and you're just like, I'm not sure I want it.
Is it difficult because it's considered an offshore account? Is it considered an offshore account? No? Okay.
I thought it
might have been something illegal.
No, not something illegal, but with France, I'm not sure if this is a French rule or European or EU rule, but it's now a deal with, America has to be able to access foreign bank accounts if you have like a regular foreign bank account. Okay. So some places don't even want to deal with the extra paperwork of having an American get an account.
Interesting.
So I got to run around a bunch of times with going to banks and they be like, oh no, not here. Nope, you can't do it here. Oh no, we don't do that. And I'm like, we don't, or you don't.
Yeah.
And of course, now I know the rules better. And the rule is they have to give me an account, or they have to give me a legit reason, and it has to be written. They have to give me a legit written reason why they didn't give me an account and tell me where else to go. And with that, I can report them based on that, because they gave me that on paper saying they couldn't give me an account. So those are rules that, of course, you don't know when you come here, and they don't expect you to know. That's why they do these things. So I eventually got one, and people are like, oh, what about change your account? I'm not changing anything. I can't change my internet. Okay, like nothing. Cell phone's the same since I've been here all 6 years. Like, we're not changing nothing. Okay. It was too hard.
But that sounds like a business. It sounds like a business.
Sure.
It sounds like a racket.
No, for you to help people.
I don't want to do it. I don't have the patience. I can't help nobody with this. I do not have the patience. Yeah, like
it is a big business
who do that. Yeah, it is a business, but some people are shiesty with it. Yeah, people are shiesty.
Yeah, like
helping you get your visa is a business. Like, some people do that as a business.
But you can do it yourself. Like, I mean, to get my whole thing, I did this by myself. So like, you can definitely do it. But like you said, Tanisha, some people are shiesty and they overcharge. And I was looking at some of these like digital nomad like companies where they help you, you know, do with the move, and it's unbelievably expensive. I'm like, all you have to do, you know, take a few weekends, do those Google searches that you need to do, make those phone calls, and
get you a good friend.
Free. Yeah, it's free to do.
And Google Translate.
Google Translate, you know, but I do feel like I get a lot more people emailing me, and especially with my recent article about my move here, more people, especially Americans, are like, oh, can you, you know, help me with this process? And I'm like, I don't do that for work. Like, I don't know.
Your response should have been, oh, here's my rate sheet.
I know. My friend's like, you need to not answer them and send, you know, I charge them. I'm like, I don't know. It's a lot of work.
It is. And so I'm gonna give you this little piece of advice to you, Margo, as the new expat. To not burn yourself out early on, because people will ask you like, oh, you know, how'd you move there? And I'd really like to pick your brain about the move and all that.
There's a lot of that.
99% of the people are not moving nowhere. All right. Just want to answer a bunch of questions and just wear you out. Like, serious. And I'm sorry to have to say this, you know, you can keep this in and out, Sarita, but people will wear you out, ask you 500 questions, have no intention of moving anywhere. Or like, yeah, you know, I'm putting a plan in place, I'm gonna move in 3 years. No, you're not. Like, it don't take you that long. You either move it or you're not. And you don't want people to keep wasting your time by you answering the email, going back and forth and all of that. And they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So, you know, and the reason I'm saying this is, one, it happened to me a trillion times.
Wow.
I got tired of it real fast. Give them, like Sarita, she was half joking, but give them a rate sheet. Just be like, you know what? I do offer this as a service. It costs this much. I bet you didn't want to ask you any more questions.
You're right.
And that's a polite way to, like, seriously, like, just come up with a rate sheet. It's $150 an hour to talk to me. Like, whatever the case may be. Or say it's $75 an hour, whatever you want to do. And if they're like, okay, I'll pay it. Well, all right, now you made you some money.
And the thing is, if they're serious, they're going to come at you with actual questions, and they're going to do some pre-research. Like, let me look this up, because time is money. You know, her time is important.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's another thing. You're not going to wear me out with loose questions. So how did you move?
I get those DMs all the time. I'm like, I Googled the embassy and I followed the directions that was on the, I don't know, like, it's,
I swear,
Atlantic. Like, I packed a suitcase and bought a ticket. Like, that's it. Like, what do you want to know? So, even in interviews, people ask me not silly questions, but so Tanisha, so like, how'd you get to Paris? Like, and this is, again, I'm not trying to be arrogant, but like, if you can say like, oh, I followed you for a while, you know how I got here. And you know what I do. Like, ask me another question. Like, I'm sure you can think of another question to ask that will help your audience. If that's what you're trying to do this for. So you packed up a suitcase and moved to Paris?
Is that what you did?
Is that a question? Like, why am I doing this? How long is this interview?
Oh man.
So yeah, girl, let me just help you. If that's any advice I can give
I appreciate that. No, truly, because I'm like,
listen, people gonna wear you out.
Yeah, I've fallen in the podcast trap a few times. I was like, I've fallen in the podcast trap and the social media trap. Can you I just need help with my social media. I don't know what that means. I want to start a podcast. Okay. I don't know what that means, but I've fallen, like, being so I guess, you know, honored, like, oh, they want my help. That must be somebody. No, girl.
That's how it starts, G. That's exactly how it starts.
No, man.
You get mad flattered. Like, everybody's in the DMs.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you moved? Oh, how long you been living there? Oh my God, I love to live abroad. Oh, here we go. You know,
but don't own a passport.
Oh, that's funny. No passport.
And not even no passport. Like, you ain't left Atlanta. Like, where you trying to live abroad? Like, you haven't even been anywhere else in Georgia. Like, have you been to Macon? Like, where else have you been?
She did not say Macon. She could have said Savannah.
Can't stand you.
Right. She said Macon.
Oh my gosh. All right, we're gonna keep it light and ask you guys the random and not so rapid questions. The first one is, what movie do you love?
That's a good one, because you know me, I can't watch movies twice.
Seriously?
You can't watch movies twice.
No, I did not know
I don't like to watch reruns of shows. I don't like to watch movies again. Like what?
Oh wow, really?
What?
I feel like I just blew everybody's mind. Like what
you did because you're Black, and it's a lot of Black stuff that we have to watch over and over again.
Right.
I'm not that person. So if my card needs to be handed in, or I need to put a stamp on it, let me know. Yeah.
So can you catch quotables?
I don't read books again. I mean, maybe like a help book, something like that. But I watch stuff one and I'm out. One and done. I don't know why I couldn't come up with that. One and done.
But wait, sometimes when you watch movies more than once, you catch things that you didn't see before.
Perhaps.
Okay. All right. Not feeling me. Okay.
She doesn't.
She's like, that's not my problem.
She's not moved. All right. Great.
And when I've had to do it, because people are like, oh, I'm gonna watch this movie. I'm like, I've seen that. Oh, okay, well, let's watch it again. I'm like, oh God, I'm not paying attention enough. So like, I won't catch it because I'm not as engrossed in it, because I'm like, I know what happens.
Okay.
Oh wow.
So to say a favorite movie. Like,
all right, girl, what was the last movie you actually liked? Like you was like, oh, that was a great movie. I like that movie. What was the last movie?
I'm trying to think. Come back to me. Because I'm trying to think like what I watched. Come back to me.
Okay. Margo, anything? Don't disappoint us like Tanisha.
Please.
No, I will watch. I do my reruns and all that good stuff. There's so many good films out there. Let's see, the most recent one that I saw.
Oh, Leslie, you got one?
I do.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Margo.
Okay.
Snakes on a Plane?
Yeah.
Girl.
The Color Purple.
Oh.
I watched that like it's the first time.
I cannot start it unless I can finish it. You know, it's a 3-hour movie. And I saw it on the other day. I was like, I can't commit. I got things to do, so I can't commit today. But it's one of those movies. I agree.
It's like the first time each time I watch it. Yeah.
Wow.
Cackling at the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I have seen that one more than once. I'll say that.
Okay.
I've seen that one more than once.
Like, because I mean, you won't know all the quotables unless you see it more than once, right?
That's true.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, that's gonna be lost on me.
Oh, Tanisha.
I'm kidding. I know the quotables from Color Purple. From Color Purple, New Jack City.
Friday.
From Friday.
Okay. All right.
There's a few. I really like, it's by Barry Jenkins. It's called, I think it was one of his first films, Medicine for Melancholy. That came out maybe in.
Okay, she done hit us with an art house film.
Yeah,
all right.
know, right?
They play that at
Is this a documentary?
No, they play that at East Cinema in DC. It's one of those.
Most likely. But it was just super. I loved it because I love San Francisco. It was set in the Bay Area, and it follows two Black San Franciscans just trying to stay in the city. And they're being pushed out because of gentrification, but it's a really cute film. I really loved it.
Well, since I haven't seen it, I can watch that and add it to my list.
Good, okay.
Add it to my list.
All right.
So, Rita, what is yours?
All right, I'll go next. So, actually, one of my recent, I'm going to add this to my list of faves, but I love The Photograph.
Yes,
I absolutely love that movie. I'm very picky with romantic films, but that one, that's to me, that's on the level of like a Love Jones. But I just felt everything, the music, the jazz in the background. I was like, oh God. Goodness. And I was like, is that Solange? Oh,
it's beautiful. It's just
it's so beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's beautifully shot.
They do a good job of like capturing New Orleans. I was like, oh
yeah.
I love everything about this movie. So
I forgot about the photograph. Yeah, that was also a really
that's my newest addition.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Tanisha, so you do not have an answer. I will move on.
Nope. Next question.
All right. Fine with me. All right.
Need a drum roll or like a sound effect for the next question? How do we do it?
Just checking.
Okay.
All right. We're on to our next money question. If you received $8,000, what would you do with it?
I thought about this weekend.
Okay.
Because I said, Sarita is going to ask us. and so the past couple of weeks, my answers have been very self-involved. And I thought, if I had $8,000, I would supplement the summer lunch program for kids who don't have lunch.
Wow. That's awesome.
Very sweet.
That is awesome.
I like that.
That's a great answer. Dang. So
more money, more Botox.
Leslie should have went last.
All right. I'm like, who's going next?
Start with the Good Samaritan.
That's why I got to give a fake answer. More money. I'm like 8,000. These joints could sit up, stomach flat, butt up. No, I'm kidding. I'm not doing that. Girl, have you seen me? Nothing needs to be done to this rack. All right, it is perfection as me.
Oh gosh, do you have an answer, girl?
Yes, 8,000. So I'm buying a bottle of DRC for sure. I don't know if I'll buy 2 bottles, one to drink now, one to keep, but like a good one from like a good year from like the 80s probably. And then a first class flight to somewhere I'm not sure of yet. Probably still in Europe, and then get like so the flight wouldn't be that expensive. And then get like a baller suite. And then just, have a photographer follow me around. Because, that's what I need to do that for the gram. Because why would I have 8,000 and no one can know it? No one can see it.
You got to memorialize it.
Right. When we get to 10,000, I'll share it and take someone. But for now.
Oh, yeah.
Remain unpaid. Taking this money on the road. We're not putting nothing on the college loans. We not. No.
Right.
Sorry.
Margo?
I guess spend the money between starting the nonprofit, the arts organization that I'd love to launch, but also get my family traveling. So my niece and my nephews, because I feel like, travel is such an education, and then to be able to give that as a gift, that would be really cool. So, yeah.
Nice. Sarita, what about yours?
This one was because it's not quite like 8,000 is a nice amount, but it's not quite enough for what I have planned for the 10K. But I would probably invest in a small Black business. So I know that Coco Noir is always looking for investors. Leslie, I don't know if you would look for investors, but I would invest in a small Black business.
She's gonna invest in you, Leslie. So Leslie, what would you do with $16,000?
Whoa! I didn't say the whole amount.
Oh, okay. Leslie, what would you do with $12,000?
Oh, goodness gracious.
Okay. Yes, 12.
Yeah. That would be good. That would we'd appreciate that.
Okay. Right. But you'd be mad if Leslie's like, so we are taking a jet to Australia.
We're doing research.
Because we are doing research on soil and vine pruning is what we're gonna check out.
I don't know. I'm a simple American. Look, just put my name on a pew or something. You know, when you buy a church or buy your, just put it.
Just put Leslie. Put her name on the one of the rows in the van.
Yes.
Give her like a little metal plate in the armrest in the van.
Shut up.
Oh God.
And you know what? I'll get a little velvet rope.
Yes. Engrave the seatbelt. Engrave the seatbelt with her name. Get a little. Put her name on the seatbelt. So as soon as Sarita be right across their chest.
I can't stand y'all. Margo, I mean, we don't.
Oh my goodness.
All right, next question. Name something you are most likely to eat at a concert or a sporting event. Hot dog, popcorn, nachos, fries, candy.
My actual number one sporting event snack isn't on there.
What is it?
Pretzel. A pretzel with cheese.
Oh, sure.
Pretzel.
That's a good one.
When we used to go to Bulls games, me, my brother, and my dad, 2 minutes left in the second quarter, he would go get us all pretzels and Sprite. It was a thing.
Oh, that's so cute.
So he would come back, so 2 minutes before halftime, he would go so the line wouldn't be super crazy.
Oh my God.
And then he would come back middle of halftime and we would have pretzels and Sprite.
I love that.
That was like our thing.
Mm-hmm. If I go to a baseball game, I will always get a beer. I don't know what it is. I will get a beer at a baseball game and probably a hot dog.
Okay.
Actually, Italian
and sausage.
Sausage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I'm at a concert, I'm usually just drinking. But if I'm at a baseball game, I'm also getting a hot dog and beer.
Okay. Perhaps I'm greedy because you're
like, I'm getting nachos and a hot dog, and then I'm gonna
not either or.
No, so listen, minus the hot dogs, I don't really like hot dogs like that, but it's whatever I smell first. If I smell popcorn first, I'm most likely I'm going to get that. So it depends on where everything is stationed. So popcorn, nachos, fries, all of those things are the same level. It's whatever I see and smell first. So candy, I don't really have a sweet tooth like that. So it wouldn't be that. But
candy's like if I'm at the movies, then I might think candy. And same for me with popcorn. I don't think popcorn at a sporting event.
No, neither do
popcorn is my movie snack. Sporting event, we pretzel, we're nachos, we're other things.
Yeah, we'll see. Movie theaters here, they're so fancy now. They have everything from like hamburgers, French fries, and chicken and wine and all of that.
I'm still not trying to do all of that. And just go to dinner.
It's true.
Eat first.
But Americans are greedy. I am an American. So if we see it there, like what? I can get a full meal while I watch the movie. Why wouldn't I do that?
And then I can't concentrate. Like I gotta look down at the food. I don't like eating in the dark either.
Oh, girl, you got too many. Yeah, it's too much.
Not eating a full meal. Like I'll eat popcorn in the dark, but trying to eat balance. I'm balancing a hamburger, fries, and Skittles on my lap. I'm not doing this.
Okay, well, hamburger and fries ain't that hard to eat on your lap. You eat that in your car.
And have done it, yes.
Yeah.
In broad daylight.
All right. Anyway.
Or at least with some kind of light. I'm not trying to do all that with a movie. I'm trying to watch the movie. I gotta watch the movie.
And we know how you feel about the movie. Watch it one time.
Right. So I gotta see everything. I'm only watching this one time. I'm not coming back. I'm not getting it on DVD. I gotta see it now. I can't take my eyes off to chew a hamburger. I can't.
All right. Next question. How likely are you to become a vegan? Just throw out a percentage.
5%.
I mean, now that I live in
full vegan,
girl, full vegan, not vegetarian, full vegan.
So no cheese? Can we add
no cheese, girl? Just vegetable, fruits, and carbs.
Girl, 5%. 5% likely. And that's only because I never say never, but 5%. We're talking out of 100%.
I don't think it's likely unless it was for medical reasons, and my doctor's like, Margo, you need to cut it out. I used to be vegetarian, and now that I live here, no.
Okay, so you used to be what type of vegetarian were you?
So I ate cheese. I consume dairy, but just not like poultry, seafood, red
Got
meat.
it.
But this was like when I was an undergrad in college.
How long did that last?
I was vegetarian for 2 years.
Oh, okay, that's a long time.
Okay. Yeah, it was. I enjoyed it, but it was hard. Sort of.
Did you enjoy it?
I did. Like my skin was the most clearest it had ever been. Wow. I had more energy. Like I did notice a difference.
Okay.
But when I went back home, my mom was like, "What are you doing? What is this?"
Oh, you're Haitian too. She probably wasn't trying to hear that. She wasn't.
She pretty much was like, "Oh, they brainwash you. Like I sent you to school to learn, and they brainwash you. Like what's going on?" So she just was like, "You want to study English and you become a vegetarian? Like what is happening?" Like she just did not.
Oh, that's definitely a foreign mom conversation.
Yeah. So that was short lived. Yeah. But I did know the benefits, but now I don't mind it. But being in Europe and like the quality of the food is just so good.
Yeah.
It would be a challenge to willfully just become a vegan. Yeah. So
girl, cheese. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not.
Right.
Cheese and bacon. Like, I mean, there are other things like cheese and bacon. Like, I'm literally never giving those. Okay, let me not say never. I'm not going out without a fight.
Okay. All right. Leslie, I'm looking at your face.
I'm like, -2% would I be a vegan. I mean, it would have to be, if you don't do this, Miss Freelo, you are going to die in the next couple of days, and we might have to make some concessions. Type of
situation. What's Rita coming up off that 8K? Like somebody's like, okay, so for the 8,000, then I'd be like, how long? Like 8,000, not a lifer.
8,000 ain't enough to be a vegan.
Right.
Depends on how long we talking about being a vegan.
True.
Be a vegan for a month?
Oh, so you should think there's.
No, I think this is forever.
Right. Oh, I'm saying like if you pay me, I could do it for a finite period of time.
No. And all those, like, I've said this before, I am very skeptical about those Beyond Burger, what have you, because if it was meant to be meat, it would be meat. Like,
just be meat. You either eat meat or you not.
Yeah. Right.
Like, why are we faking this?
Right.
And making it look like meat. Like, let's not.
It's tasty. Y'all know I do meatless Mondays. I'm sorry. Whoop. Let me fix that. Meatless Monday mornings. Just in the morning.
It is just the morning. It's just the morning. I couldn't get it out.
It's just the morning.
24 hours.
Like, it's not. I can't even lie. I'm not even gonna lie on the podcast. It's just the morning. I make a cute, very filling, like Monday. It's usually like brunch style. It's very large. But like dinner is usually, a
frittata type of situation.
No, but that's not vegan.
Oh, because it has cheese.
It's eggs.
And eggs.
Eggs.
Oh, I don't even think of eggs. Like, that's not real meat.
Right.
That's not
okay.
meat.
Okay, Leslie, we get it.
I don't think
you'll never be a vegan.
I'm like eggs, cheese, bacon. Yeah. You don't name staples. When people cook stuff, like, oh, well, we making this vegan and there's no eggs, and I'm like, eggs like hold stuff together. Like this is why your food falling apart. Everything all crumbly. Well, there's substitutes for it. I'm not playing.
Like, so being Catholic, especially now, there's no meat on Fridays, right?
Sure.
But you can have eggs. So see, I didn't even think like.
No, they're just right. See, that's vegetarian. All right, not vegan. Listen, unless you're Tabitha Brown, you're not even about to talk me into it and cooking nothing for me. Okay? I'd eat one of her dishes. Other than that, I'm not doing it.
For me, it's not likely. There's probably only for health reasons that I would be able to give up seafood. So, seafood I wouldn't be able to do. And then I really
ever be unhealthy. I don't believe
it. True. And like I have an affinity for roasted chicken. So, not even fried chicken. It's the roasted chicken that's. Yeah, I don't know. It's golden brown. It's juicy. I don't know. So, nah, I won't be able to give it that. And eggs will be a serious problem. So, my percentage is like 10%.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Low for me too.
Yeah. All right. The last question is for Margo. I read online that you like gin. Is that right?
Woo. I love gin.
Okay. Love gin. All right.
Love
so
gin.
pair your favorite gin cocktail with a song.
Oh, okay. It would be Lucy Pearl's Dance Tonight.
So impressed.
What's our cocktail?
I'm so impressed.
Let me see if
I did not expect that from a millennial. I can't even lie to you.
Oh my goodness. I love
you know Lucy Pearl? Somebody told you about this. You got an older sister.
Oh, wow.
No, I love music. Like, yeah, love music so much. So I have
really quick. Did anybody watch the D'Angelo verses last night?
I watched some.
I didn't even know he had one.
Yeah, they didn't promote it like they did the other big ones, but yeah, I watched.
Yeah, it was like 3 a.m. Like I couldn't do it.
How was it?
So okay. So first of all, as a huge, massive D'Angelo stan, I thought it was great just to see him and like feel his energy and that kind of stuff. You can tell he's getting older. It was a little uncomfortable at some moments, but it was great overall. He brought out Method Man. He brought out Method Man and Redman. He brought out Her, and he sang and she sang Lauryn Hill's part of Nothing Even Matters. Oh, so it's some real key moments that happened. Everybody thought it was great, but Swiss Beats and Timbaland let out that they said on their Instagram live that he was still supposed to battle Maxwell, but for some reason they couldn't get it together. They were supposed to battle each other on Valentine's Day, and they couldn't get the details together. So D'Angelo was already planned and already ready, so he kept going solo, but everybody was like, you shouldn't have told us that. Even though it was a great solo show for him, that would have been crazy. But apparently people on Twitter were like, Maxwell has like serious anxiety and stage fright, and he battled with it throughout his career. And he was like, there's probably no way he would ever do a versus. And people were like, wait, it's not people though, but you can visualize the numbers, I guess. But yeah, crazy. So,
but like for him to go on stage, it's weird though. Like he actually has been on the stage, but yet now, like you can't sit in your living room and do it.
Well, I think they would have been together in New York at the Apollo. I don't know.
That's so interesting.
Yeah,
that is.
I would never expect that, but I did see Maxwell a couple times in Boston, and his first show in Boston after like decades, he actually said the first time he came to Boston, the people in the audience were just like so rude. They just weren't, being respectful. And so he said he was never going to come back to Boston.
He said that?
And I was like, he said that in his opening set when he came out with Black Summer's Night.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he was like, that hurt my feelings. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so crazy. And so I was like, I hope he comes back, but we sometimes forget, like they're human too, but
they are.
You would never guess it, they would also have stage fright.
Yeah. But anyway, I interrupted. Margo, continue.
Oh, about
your gin cocktail and your song.
Oh yes,
Lucy Pearl.
So Lucy Pearl, I love music so much, so I'm always making a little playlist for when I'm cleaning the house or when I'm cooking. I love to cook, so that's sort of is the song that I would
Got it. Did you say your gin cocktail?
That's what we're waiting for.
That I would make, you mean?
Yeah. Yes.
Girl, what you trying?
Okay. So typically I will use a Portuguese gin. There's a little liquor store up the street, so I usually get one from Teju, and then I cut it with some tonic water, and then I add half a lime and ice cubes, and then I give it a little stir, and that's how I have my gin and tonic. But usually I'm drinking like Vino Verde, or I'm drinking a sparkling light.
Oh wow.
€2.
Ooh.
I'm shocked at how cheap wine is. Like I was not anticipating that. But you can get some really quality stuff for under €5 anywhere.
What? Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, I need to learn more about what I'm drinking, but everything tastes good. So I haven't complained.
Cool. Leslie, what are you drinking? I saw you drinking a red.
I am drinking a Petite Bordeaux.
Whoa.
Ooh la la.
The Tockton Breeze.
Oh yeah, nice.
Mm-hmm.
They make pretty good wine.
They do. They do. Their winemaker has been noted for the best Syrah on the East Coast.
My.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Tanisha, did you finish your 2006 Black Ankle?
No, not yet. I have a couple more sips.
Okay.
And then I was gonna post it tonight, but I mean it's 11 now, so I'm not doing that. So I'll post it tomorrow as like a recap of the weekend's events.
Gotcha. Well, Margo, thank you so much for joining us today and all of our shenanigans.
All of the shenanigans.
Thank you. Please come back.
Yeah.
I definitely will. I was going to mention working on a book, an ebook that I'm going to be releasing.
Whoa.
It's about my, my move here, but also just seeing how, through I've been able to build a community of expat friends. And I'm going to have a wine professional out of Virginia. You might know her, Benita Johnson,
Yeah,
of the Wine Club.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll be pairing wines with the recipes that I'll have in the ebook. So that's like the latest project that I'm working on, and definitely will share more details with you guys as I go.
Awesome. That's great.
Thank you.
Tell everybody where they can follow you.
Yes. So you can follow me on Instagram at Margo's Creative Life. And then also my website is
Say that one more time, Margo. You broke up a little bit. Say that one more time. You broke up.
You can find me on Instagram at Margo's Creative Life. And online at my website, www.margoscreativelife.com as well.
Leslie and Tanisha, you got anything coming up?
I do. I have two things happening. One, I have our Wine Lovers Wednesday, and Sarita is going to be my guest there. And we are tasting a Pinotage and a Pinot Gris from Stoney's Wine. And then secondly,
nice.
The Women of the Vine and Spirits. Recently, I created a committee with Rachel Martin from Oceana Wines, and it's called From the Vine to the Bottle. And it's for people of all aspects of the wine segment. So you could grow, you could work in the tasting room, you could be a media person, but this is specifically for wine people. So if you're interested in joining, we're about to put out a poll of what people are interested in learning more about. Please join our committee.
Tanisha, anything coming up?
Yes, Thursday, March 4th, I'm doing a live podcast recording with a table for two. It's guys Antoine Abu Samra out of Lebanon, and doing it live. And I'm doing a segment on food and wine pairing, wine buying tips. And then Jamie Arajuo from Trois Noirs Wines in California. She's doing a segment, and then there's another gentleman, Akos, and they're doing a segment on like wine business and what the latest things in the wine industry. So yeah, that you can register at a table for two on Instagram. You can do, you can register and get all the information there. But that is Thursday. So I'm excited to be the first one we're doing. So excited to see how that goes.
Very exciting.
Awesome.
That is cool.
Nothing going on with me. I'm just closing out the Instagram series for Blacks and Wine. Thank you to all the Black wine professionals who are pushing through during this difficult, challenging time. And, we see you, we hear you, and you're welcome to be on the show anytime. So just let me know. I think so. That is our show, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining the Swirl Suite, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this episode with Margo Gabriel. Be sure to follow her on Instagram and follow the way she matriculates through Portugal. Be sure to follow all of us on social media. Follow the Swirl Suite. And don't forget to like and subscribe, share our podcast, and provide comments. Cheers.